What is up? I hope you guys are having a good day. And oh my God, surprise! What am I playing? I'm not playing Resident Evil Rebirth. I'm playing the GOAT, Resident Evil 4. And if you know anything about me, Resident Evil 4 is not only my all-time favorite Resident Evil game, it's my all-time favorite video game. Period. I mean, I can't even count how many times I've played this game, and even playing this game so many times. If I start playing it right now, I have to sit down and keep playing it for a while until probably I beat it. And when a game can give you that many great moments over a long period of time, I mean, it's been 15 plus years since its release, you know it's a damn good game. And so having think of Resident Evil 4 so highly for me, I thought it was a good idea to let everyone know how I personally feel about the whole Resident Evil 4 remake, which comes out next year. So am I one of those people who's like, did it need a remake? Short answer, no. Because, as I said, this one still holds up really well. I still pop it in any day of the week. It didn't technically need it, but with them remaking 2 and 3, it just seems like now they want to do a whole remake universe, which I'm fine, perfectly fine with that. And maybe they can make things from a story standpoint better and whatnot. We'll see how it goes, but they didn't need to, but I have no problem with them doing it. But having said that, what's my standards of, it's Resident Evil 4 is my all-time favorite game, so how can a remake possibly live up to that? Well, that's the problem right there, live up to that. I don't go into it thinking it's going to live up to it. I don't know if that's even possible. I mean, yeah, it is possible. It's also possible to win the lottery. We were going to bet the home and farm on it. No. I just go in like I go into any game I play or any movie I watch or any show I watch. Did I enjoy it? Was it worth my time? Was it worth the money I spent on it? And if I can answer yes to those questions, then it did what it needed to do. It's not a question of how much I liked it, how much I didn't like it. It's just a question of did you like it or not? Is it worth your time or not? Was it worth the money you paid for it or not? That's all that matters. So, with that further said, let's get into it. What would I like to personally see out of this remake? Would I like to see some things stay the same? Differences? I don't want it to be the same. The whole concept of it can remain the same, for the most part, but I like to see differences. I like them to keep even veteran players who are familiar with 4, keep them in unfamiliar territory. I don't want to have a sense of familiarity where it's like, I think I know how it's going to go because I played the original one, but then they change up. That'd be perfectly fine with me. I would like that. I just don't want them to copy and paste everything. I'm going to do things maybe a little bit out of sequence and whatnot. I have no problem with that. But as long as they keep the identity of the game, and that is the perfect blend of horror and action. It looks like they're adding more horror elements, which is, once again, perfectly fine. And with how 2 and 3 are, I'm definitely excited for it. But I can't wait to get to the iconic moments, like the village. We've seen a little bit of gameplay of that. I can't wait to see that one moment when you're in the castle. And you know what I'm talking about. Probably one of the hardest, maybe the hardest part of the entire game is that part where you got to cross the bridge. Not the bridge to the castle, but inside the castle we got to cross the water bridge or raise it with the lever crank. And you have Ashley with you. And you just have all those shielded cultists and the arrow shooting cultists. I mean, it is just... And the scythe wielding ones. I can only imagine that in the remake to do that shit. But as I said, just like... you can change things up, the order, sequence of it, and add some new things, but keep the concept of what made Resident Evil 4 so great the same, Perfect blend of horror and action. I like the horror elements, the darker atmosphere, that's great. But I also want to have those cool moments where I'm roundhouse kicking people. I hope they bring back the German suplex. Oh my god, that would just... There is nothing more satisfying than German suplexing people on the staircase and busting their heads open. That is like, you would never think about that in a Resident Evil game, but for some reason it just works in that way. It's just cool as shit, and also bring back the bicycle kick that Ada does in the game too. Speaking of characters, enhance this lore a little bit. Give more backstory or whatnot. I've heard people say they like to see more of like scenes of Krauser, like how Krauser and Leon, unless you play the Dark Side Chronicles, you really have no idea. Most people, for the first time I saw Krauser, they're like, who the hell is this? This is a new character to the game or whatnot. They didn't know what its connection was with Leon, but give more emphasis on that. Have more emphasis on the whole, Leon, what he's been doing in those 6 years at the Raccoon City, training and showcasing some of it. Show how he's changed and different. What's Ada been up to? What she's been working off screen, and also, I really want them to make when they first meet each other, Ada and Leon. I want them to make that moment a little bit more emotional because if they're following the remake universe, then Leon doesn't know that Ada's alive, especially at the end of Resident Evil 2 remake. Now you could say that maybe he finds out in between off screen, but I just think that'd be cheap and lame. Like, let it be like a shock where Ada's just kind of like, yeah, it's he, and Leon's just like kind of stunned, but we'll see how it goes. I just like to have more story emphasis and character moments and whatnot. And Lisa's getting more of a big role. Actually, that's a big improvement. Just by watching the showcase, it really seems like they're going to give a lot more to Ashley. She's not going to be running around like in the original game. If they do that, that's definitely an improvement from the original one. So I can't wait to see that. Excuse me. But yeah, and then we got Krauser, like see more role with him, Sadler and Big Cheese and Salazar. Salazar, I'm not the craziest about his design, but it's fine. And also Wesker, I keep hearing rumors about Wesker. He's gonna have a bigger role. That'd be cool and badass as hell. So I even heard they might have a boss fight. That'd be really awesome. But I'd really like to see what they do with that. Next thing I want them to add is I've heard rumors that they have, unfortunately some creatures that, I'm not going to do it rumors too much. I know I've mentioned a few, but hopefully all of the monsters infected are in the game. I've heard a few that might be taking out like the Novistadors, whatnot, even though they are replaced with something else. But as I said, I won't know until I play it. But they better not take out my damn regenerators. I love those little bastards. My all-time favorite creature in Resident Evil history. Those regenerators were just perfect. The sounds they make, the way they move, the music plays when they see it, it's just perfect. I can't wait to see them. But I hope they don't show them in like a trailer. Like, save that for the game. I just want to encounter them for the first time again in a remake. But, keep the creatures the same. I wonder how some of the boss fights are going to go. Just because some of the boss fights had a little unique dynamic compared to most Resident Evil games. So you had like a variety. You had like the poke fight with the Del Lago, the El Gigante, that U3 at the beginning of it, the Krauser fight. Just kind of a lot of unique type of encounters. But another thing I want them to include or keep in the game, maybe elaborate more, is you remember in the original one we had that pathway where you could either take a left to fight the Chainsaw Sisters. That's another enemy I've heard that might not be in the game as well. Or B, fight the El Gigante. Well, most people who know what they're doing, will go one way and they'll come back and go the other way. You might be thinking, well, why would you do that? Because you can get all the treasures on both pathways, as well as get more currency to spend for the merchant and sell stuff. I hope they keep that concept alive in this game. Just the concept of you don't have to, but the option is available. You can explore, take some chances, and maybe get some treasures and find more currency and find some stuff. I like that aspect. It's a very underrated part of Resident Evil 4, I think. Now I'm happy the suitcase is returning because I love that thing. I don't know what it is, but it's like addicting. You got the merchant, and the merchant's always a bonus for me. I love the upgrading the weapons and stuff. It can be very addicting. I hope they keep the. I want them to make the island segment thing. I want them to make the island segment better. I don't hate the island segment as much as some people might, but I do think it could be better. I think obviously it's the weakest part of the three major areas, and I know we haven't seen the island segment yet, but I really want them to elaborate and make that a lot better than the original, especially in the action sequences, because sometimes the way the controls work, it's hard to really like do something when you got someone aiming, you got at you with like a distance arrow or whatnot, or guns, and you gotta like move and stop and start the camera and stuff. So I hope they can make those a lot less awkward. Also, make the island more creepier. I like the lab stuff, but make it more creepier and terrifying and stuff. And like as if you just walked into something and everything's like breaking loose, trying to get you, and it's that dreaded feeling and shit. Like you're basically walking to the depths of hell and shit. But that'd be really cool. Another thing, and actually this is actually a funny thing for me. I remember back in the day I used to joke about this, and now we're going to see how it goes down actually. Before Resident Evil 2 Remake was even a thought of, I used to say that if Resident Evil 4 released in today's market, the main game would release and all the extra content would be like season pass DLC. Just the world we live in. Back in my day, you can get all that stuff for $50. But now, with Resident Evil 4 Remake a thing, obviously, I think I speak for everyone, we want to see all the modes return. And this would be no different than any other games. Yeah, you want to see Mercenary Mode return. I know a lot of people are really kind of still bitter about Mercenary Mode not being in Resident Evil 3 Remake. I'm not a crazy Mercenary fan, but yes, it needs a return. Hopefully they update it and add more stuff, maybe add more characters or whatnot. But it needs to be in there. Separate ways, the campaign where you play as Ada, and you know me, I'm never going to not claim to want to see more Ada campaign or Ada action. You know, my all-time favorite Resident Evil character, but I hope they make her campaign longer, have more depth to it, you know, have more meaning, and maybe more stuff before the mission starts and after the mission's over. So I just really like to see that, just so we get a sense of, you know, what Remake Ada has been doing outside of, like, similar thing with Leon, like what they've been doing before this stuff in this Remake universe. Just elaborate more, and then have like a lot of similar things. Says I would like to be a full campaign. Honestly, that'd be great, but I don't know if they're gonna do it like that. But any campaign, I'm definitely gonna be happy for. But for the assignment Ada, the little mini mission where we go after the 5 Lost Plagueis files, I want them to change something, and I think a lot of people will agree with me. Make that instead. Make it so that we finally see or have a mission of how Ada survived the fall. Now, I think people ask all the time, like, how did Ada survive? And there's no conclusive answer. And it'd be perfect. I don't know why the DLC wasn't, or added as DLC in Resident Evil 2 Remake, but that would be cool. And I think people like that a lot more than what the assignment Ada thing is. But we'll see what they do. I'm trying to think, what else could they do? What else could they add? Because that's the thing, when it's your favorite game, it's kind of hard when you keep thinking of like what more can they add. Like there wasn't like things in the game that really bothered me. I'd say the biggest thing that always bothered me, honestly, was Ashley. Yeah, that was the biggest pain in the ass. But it just looks like this is taking care of that and make her not just a million times less annoying, but maybe her segments can be really interesting how they go, as well as her character and whatnot. So that's always a plus. And another thing that I'm going to be interested to see is, if you remember in their showcase, they had that whole cow, as you see right in front of me, the cow segment where like they shot the fire thing and it landed on the cow's on fire, just ran over everybody. I wonder if we're going to have more sequences like that with like other animals and shit. But overall, those are my thoughts on Resident Evil 4 Remake. I can't wait to play it. We're definitely in a survival horror renaissance right now. Just, you got a Callisto Protocol right around the corner. Got Resident Evil 4 Remake. Got Dead Space Remake. They got new Silent Hill games as well as Silent Hill 2 Remake. It's just like, damn. You know, unfortunately, even though it is a survival horror renaissance, I always have to bring this up. Why can't they remake my Dino Crisis? The first ever survival horror game I ever played in my life. Come on, Capcom. Come on now. You need to scrap the Exo Primal and make some damn Dino Crisis remake. That's what you need to do. Because we definitely love you there. And with the RE engine, good lords, the possibilities of what they can do with that is endless. But that is going to be it. Let me know what you're looking forward to Resident Evil Remake. What do you want them to change or add? Are you afraid of certain things, or are you really excited? Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. And hopefully, excuse me, by the time this thing comes out, the majority of us would be satisfied with it, because after how a lot of people were kind of a little annoyed and pissed off at the Resident Evil 3 remake, and I still like that. But I get it. I get where people are mad. I understand it. But hopefully we don't have that situation with 4. But we'll have to wait and see. But thank you for watching. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and hopefully I can see you guys later. Thanks and peace.